Every player needs to learn how to fade on their jump shot, period. Now, I'm not saying everyone needs to jack up Kobe fadeaways or look like this crazy-ass Kawhi shot, trust me. I'm just talking about even these baby faders, where you're just letting your momentum carry you a bit. So to me, the days of every shot has to be straight up and down are honestly done. Whether you're a spot-up shooter, a big man, a small guard, you'll benefit from this. So let's dive into the why, and then I'll give you 4 drills to boost your ability here. So first off, the why. I see faders being valuable for 2 main reasons. Number 1 is separation. This one's obvious. If you have a defender contesting you, you have a much better chance of getting that shot off comfortably if you don't fully stop to go straight up and down. Even if it's just a light fade, you continue that separation that you've gained from them, and that's huge. For example, in this clip, if he jumps straight up here, he'd probably still get this shot off, but it wouldn't be as comfortable, it wouldn't be as safe. So he just fades and creates that extra separation. Still a very manageable shot. And as you can see, this doesn't have to be just fading backwards. This is fading to the side, or even forwards too. Here's a super quick clip of Chris Likes talking about this.
I remember doing a lot of workouts and coaches were always like, yo, stop fading, stay on balance. I get that, but these guys are gonna be tall. Like that fade is gonna give me just enough space to get it over. In my mind, I was like, no, like when you're working out, envision you're in the game, like somebody's guarding you.
Second is momentum and effortlessness. When we're not able to fade and we have to fully stop our momentum on every shot, it takes a lot out of us. Think about when you jump to touch something high or to dunk. Do you jump straight up and down, or do you end up floating forward a bit? Floating forward, of course. It's because to go straight up and down, we'd have to spend most of our energy decelerating ourselves, rather than using that stored energy to float up in the air and release the ball effortlessly. Of course, we don't always need to do this. Sometimes we actually don't have the space to anyways, but it's a great skill to have. So many times, slightly fading actually feels a little bit easier to me and many high-level players I've worked with. So a couple common situations for these. Number 1 are short jumpers. If we're really close to the rim, we have a lot more room for error, and there are probably more defenders in that area. So as we get closer to the rim, these could be kind of shorter mid-range jumpers or almost just extended floaters. Being able to fade in this area is huge, and it's actually easier than if we were doing it off a 3-pointer. We don't need as much power, we can stay in the air longer, etc. Now, you won't see this as much on catch and shoot threes, but this is a pretty common situation for them. Now, these shouldn't always be a fader, of course, and in fact, it's usually better to not fade here, but we do want to be equipped with the ability to do so. If that defender is following crazy close, and we can't fade, so we always have to come to a complete stop, shots like this wouldn't be possible. You see the best in the world do this, JJ Redick, Duncan Robinson. Now, keep in mind that this is more important for players with a low release point. If you have a crazy high release point like this, and you really get elevation on that shot, well, there's your separation right there. You're getting it vertically. But for a lot of us, that isn't possible, so we may need to fade a little bit more on threes. Next are post fades, of course, the Kobe, the MJ, being able to turn around from that post and fade. This is again one of those shots that may not be crazy applicable to most of us. So I also like thinking about these out of a 2-foot stop and pivot too, the Jalen Brunson type fade. Every player knows what it's like to get down here successfully, and then not have many options because you come to a stop and you have a defender on you. So fading out of here is an option that's super tough to stop. And then lastly, if you have this in your game, are separation moves. So whether this is in the mid-range, whether this is from the 3-point line, separating away from defenders, and then again, continuing that separation with a fade. So now that we understand the benefits of it, why we would be fading in the first place, I'll give you guys 4 drills that you can add into your own training to make sure that you're getting good at these tougher shots. Because yes, they are a little bit more difficult, of course, but instead of running away from it, let's embrace it and work on these.
So first drill right here, we're just learning how to shoot when our weight is not evenly distributed. So most times when we're shooting, we're right here, 50%, 50%. Now I want you to think about maybe 80%, 20%, 90%, 10%, something where most of your weight is on one foot, all right? It's kind of shifted into that leg, and then you're shooting from there, all right? So this is kind of setting the foundation for these faders that we'll be shooting. Second one here, you can start either closer, or if you're already comfortable with faders in any direction, you can move back a little bit. But you're finding any line you want, preferably one of the lane lines. The goal is to jump from one side of the line and then land on the other. Obviously, if we're jumping from one side, landing on the other one, we're gonna be fading a little bit, but I want you to mix up a little bit how you're doing this. All right, so maybe one time I go from this side of the line to this one, next one, I'm fading this way, so kind of away from the basket. I can even jump here and fade past the free throw line. So I want you to switch it up. But again, it's just what we call a constraint that's forcing you into one of these faders. Third one here, now we're gonna exaggerate it. So I'm starting a little bit closer to the basket. I'm taking a dribble or two out, and then I'm trying to turn as I jump. So instead of turning first and then jumping, I'm literally thinking about rotating in midair. So maybe if you're a little bit newer to this idea, you can start 90 degrees. All right, so you're oriented this way towards the sideline, jump from there and rotate. But I do want you to get to a point where you're 180 degrees and you're really learning how to rotate, over exaggerating this, rotating, facing the rim, and shooting from there. Last one here, you're gonna be alternating between a three-pointer and then kind of a closer short fade shot. All right, the three-pointer is gonna be way less of a fade. So I want you to think about just as you catch this one, your momentum is going to the side here. So maybe you're coming off the screen, whatever. All right, and you're allowing your momentum to just slightly carry you through that shot. All right, so as you saw in those clips, it's nothing crazy. It can be when you're at a super high level. But for us, I wanna focus on just kind of a super light fade. So if I jump from here, maybe I land right here. Again, nothing crazy. All right, and this can be any direction. This can be off the dribble or it can be off the catch. That's up to you. Then you're gonna step in a little bit. You're getting into something off the dribble where you are fading a little bit more. It's more manageable. You're closer to the rim. All right, it's a lot more realistic of a shot. So now you can really exaggerate it because you're closer to that rim. And again, you're just alternating three-pointer, close, three-pointer, close, going through it, kind of thinking about game situations and visualizing these.
So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you can take even one thing and apply this into your own game or your own training. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at BindingMeansBasketball for a lot more like this. Check out our virtual academy where I took all these drills from, and just stay in tune with the journey. Until next time.